Hey everyone, it's been a minute since you have seen Bud of Bud's Hot Sports Takes, but welcome back to another episode. So everyone right now is asking themselves, who do I draft and go after for my season-long team? And whether I'm drafting with friends on like a Yahoo League or something similar, or I'm drafting for my best ball season-long over in DraftKings. Well, I'm about to give you two strategies to go with that will keep you in the top spots all season long. First strategy is going with running back first fill up. Well, real NFL drafts have put a real drain on the position and it not being drafted anything like it used to. But in fantasy football, it's one of the biggest point getting positions you can get. And it's a position that is going to perform every single week, with the worst in the league getting you about 10 points a week consistently, and the best getting you about 18 to 20 points a week consistently. Sure, there may be a big week or a slow week with a player here and there, but that's every single sport every year. The key is finding the players who are hitting your numbers and hitting them weekly for you. And at an 8 to 10 point difference between the top and the bottom, and there is two spots, meaning getting this position early gives you a starting out advantage of 16 to 20 points. The rest of your team just has to stay within. And with this strategy, you're also gaining a third of these guys, so you still have at least two during a bye week, and weeks that aren't a bye week, you have three playing and paying you a high scoring position because of the flex player. And typically with flex, you're hoping to get 8 to 10 points out of that player. So now you just took three spots most weeks of your 9-player team, which is 1/3 of your needed spots, and gave yourself a 26 to 32 point advantage. Now, I know you all are thinking, well, okay, I get these numbers and I understand where you're coming from, but who do I draft? We are going to get to that, and I'll also be naming two guys per position as we draft to look for in case one of these guys got drafted before you could get to them. Now, I'm also going to only be going over the first fill, aka the first 9 rounds. After all, I can't reveal all my secrets and dark horses. Okay, your first round. Look to get Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry. Both guys led the league in rushing and got the most points last year, and King Henry led the league for most of the year. Both have shown in the past this kind of production is something that isn't a fluke. Both have great offensive lines. Now, I know you all might be thinking, well, what about Bijan Robinson? He had the second most fantasy points for running backs last year behind only Saquon Barkley. My answer to that is he picked up a lot of extra points in the passing game with reception totals and yards. Nothing wrong with that. But this year, his quarterback is going to be Michael Penix Jr., who, well, I believe we didn't see his best performance in his starts last year. He only threw for over 60% completion rate once. And while he didn't take off and do things with his legs like he did in college, and that's a hard habit to break quarterback confidence in his legs and rely on his arm when his whole life he has gone on instinct when he gets into trouble and takes off with it. But quarterbacks who do take off with their legs whenever they get into trouble and people are rushing in on them, they have a lower percentage of those short passes to the running back that was giving Bijan Robinson all those extra points that he will be losing out on this year. Second round, Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley, right? Obviously, second round as well. If you got one of them, the other's still available, great. Now I said, okay, well, also those two guys, by the time you get to the second round, they might be taken, right? Well, who else could I get? Ashton Genty. You might be thinking, okay, I understand Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley. If either of them are still available, but why Ashton Genty if they aren't? Okay, this is a guy who was drafted 6th overall in an era that draft time speaking has devalued the position heavily, and yet he not only still went in the first round, but in the top 10. That only happens when you have shown the ability that you might have the potential to come in and start chasing for rushing titles out of the gate. And in college, yes, it's not the NFL, and the talent in the pros shows a lot of guys quickly that between college and the NFL, that there are levels to this game, and this is a different level. But in college, there are 3 fewer games played, shown he can handle a 3 down back workload, as he had 374 rushing attempts in 14 games. He also had 2,601 rushing yards, a 7.1 or 7.0 per carry average in 14 games, with 29 rushing touchdowns to go with it. That is insane, even if it is college. Let's say that 7.0 yards per carry in college drops to a mere 5.0. I'd still happily run him. And that would have equated to 1,875 rushing yards in the NFL, which anyone would be happy with. Yes, the guy is 5'8", but he is a solid 5'8". He is 5'8", but built like Derrick Henry. And some would argue that kind of build on a smaller guy would actually make him even harder to tackle. That speed and power hitting him high most of the time, he is either going to bounce right off you or carry you for another yard or two. He is harder to hit low and tackle at the legs because you yourself have to get that low, and the lower center of gravity lets him keep up straight, turning the legs instead of lowering the shoulder for impact and slightly lowering his speed when doing so. So that a lot, and that's what a lot of players end up doing, and is going to be your starter. And a 2 down back out of the gate, maybe a 3, but a 3 down by the end of the season for sure. Your 3rd round. By now, they have started to see you're getting your running backs. And by not wanting to lose all the good ones, you have started making others start grabbing their running backs before they were ready. So we are going to list you 3 completely different guys here, so you have a better chance of getting at least one of them as your 3rd. Obviously, if one of those 3 are still available, grab them, right? But if not, Jonathan Taylor, Kyren Williams, or Joe Mixon. Jonathan Taylor is, of course, the starter for the Colts, and a team that is solid everywhere, offensively running and receiving. Having healthy quarterbacks that can keep you in the game is where it gets interesting for them. But either way, he gets his touches, and he gets those extra downs for you, right? He gets those touches, he gets the downs, he gets the yards, he gets you touchdowns, right? He gets you your points. Kyren Williams is a 3-down back because there really isn't anyone for him to compete with at running back over on the Rams. So that gives him pretty much all the touches and goal line opportunities when they're trying for that 2-yard pass. When they aren't trying for that 2-yard pass in the end zone. That has become more popular in the NFL, even though it's unnecessarily risky. So Kyren gets you your yardage, always has touchdown potential upside every single game. Joe Mixon, for years, was the Bengals' star running back on a team that wanted to throw the ball and started getting overlooked for his ability, or people saying, well, yeah, everyone is worried about the pass playing the Bengals, that of course he can run. He has to have an open field, right? Which just wasn't true. And with 3 fewer games, he's shown by going to a different team, still putting up over 1,000 rushing yards, over 300 receiving yards, and still getting the 2nd most rushing touchdowns in a season in his career. That it was him and his ability, not the team he was on, that led to his success. 4th round, grab your tight end, as by now you were left with the middle of the pack wide receivers and under, while most of your tight ends are still there. Brock Bowers is still there, but probably gone. The guy's an absolute beast. Trey McBride or George Kittle. And of all three, then go ahead and grab David Njoku. 5th round, Mike Evans. The guy is Mr. Automatic. Somehow people always seem to sleep on the guy. But he is getting 70 plus receptions and 1,000 plus receiving yards every year. And when you are that dependable, they tend to look for you in the end zone too. And this year, it's already in the cards for the writing of a historic moment as he goes after number 12 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons as he attempts to break one of Jerry Rice's records. And any guy attempting to break one of Jerry Rice's records, not a bad guy to pick up, right? Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton. Jeudy got traded to the Browns, and it gave him the resurgence he had been looking for, as once he got there, he showed everyone, hey, I'm a guy that can still make things happen and move the ball down the field, as he amassed 90 receptions for 1,200 yards. Sutton, people were talking like he was done for and might have aged out. I was telling everyone he is a guy who still has the potential to be a 1,000 plus receiver, and being one of the few weapons they have at that position is a good chance of it. And will be even better if they get him some help. Not to be double teamed. Not to mention, I thought Bo Nix was the most NFL-ready quarterback of his draft class, and said before the season and during the season. I said that over and over and over. I think when all careers are over for his draft class, he might just have the best career. And Bo Nix started out shaky the first 3 games, making me look pretty foolish. But then started showing everyone that I might have just called it. So he has a talented young quarterback and is going to be the second year with him. I think this gives Sutton plenty of upside. 6th round. Now let's grab the quarterback. Baker Mayfield has shown that maybe the Browns actually knew what they were doing when they drafted him. I always said I didn't think they gave him a fair shake. They drafted him, didn't get him any help, grabbed a running back the next year, and went to mainly a rushing offense, and then started to get a couple aerial weapons after that while still not letting him throw. Went somewhere else injured and played, ends up in Tampa Bay, and has back-to-back years passing for over 4,000 yards, showing it wasn't a fluke season. Bo Nix, week after week after he got into his groove, he was among the top 5 in fantasy points his rookie year. Or Jared Goff. He tends to have a lot of passing touchdowns, and at about a 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. And the last 3 years with the Lions passed for over 4,000 yards. All 4 years with Lions, each year, his next years since the first year, passing touchdowns has increased. Passing for 37 touchdowns last year. And the last 2 years, not only he passed for over 4,000 yards, but he passed for over 4,500. He is going to get you points. 7th round. Back to wide receiver. Obviously, if Mike Evans, Jerry Jeudy, or Courtland Sutton is available, get them. If not, here are the guys to target. Calvin Ridley. Not only is he one of the few weapons that the Titans have now after they let Derrick Henry go to the Ravens last year and ended up grabbing Ridley later on, but he still showed he has what it takes to be a threat, grabbing over 1,000 yards in the air, and is going to have a much better quarterback this year for the Titans than he did last year with him getting Ward first overall in the draft. Jacoby Myers, with Brock Bowers doing his thing, even while being double and triple teamed sometimes, gave Myers the ability to do what he does and brought in over 1,000 yards through the air on 87 receptions, making them almost 100-plus receptions and 1,000-plus yard receiving duo. And now they also have a huge threat at running back to help out giving teams something else to worry about, opening more opportunities up to all three all around. Not a bad time to probably be thinking about getting that guy. Or Khalil Shakir. Well, since Josh Allen, the Bills have shown they're a team that likes to distribute the ball around, which can be a double-edged sword. It can hinder your playmakers by not getting enough action, but can also give them a lot of opportunities as the defenses have no clue who is getting the ball. With so many people and playmakers leaving the Bills before last year, there was a lot of speculation on who the playmakers would be. Would they start relying on the run and go run heavy? With a new highly drafted young rookie Keon Coleman emerge as the playmaker. But what no one saw coming was it was Khalil Shakir that emerged as the guy showing he had what it takes to be the go-to guy. And with another year of trust built with Josh Allen, I think this could be the best year yet for him. 8th round. One of the six named in the 7th round should be available for you to pick up as your third wide receiver. But if not, you can try to pick up Matthew Golden. The Packers are a very young team overall, so already no huge standout veterans, and young Jordan Love is a competent QB, not the best, but certainly not the worst in the league either. So if Golden can show himself in camp in the preseason and make things happen the first 3 weeks, his sprinkled in chances, unless he just rocks camps and the preseason and gets the starting job right out the gate, then I think he could have a 1,000-plus yard season. 9th round. And we are lacking a defense. And we saved it for last for a very good reason. And that is, unless you get lucky with a defensive touchdown, your defense isn't scoring you enough points to really make a difference. I would go with the Lions with Aiden Hutchinson. He's gonna be back and healthy, and their secondary showed last year they could be relied on. I think this could be a dark horse defense scoring plenty of points via sacks and interceptions. Okay, now the second strategy. Since the air makes up 4 positions with its 3 wide receiver and 1 tight end draft, is to get them right out the gate, to get the most bang for your position skill, while still getting yourself some running back play. 1st round, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Malik Neighbors, or Nico Collins. I mean, the first 2, no-brainers. Every single year, they are among the top 3 in fantasy points for their position. St. Brown and Neighbors are guys that will get you yards, but they are also volume-heavy receivers, which means since that position also scores you points per reception, then that is free money in the bank. Nico Collins has been on fire with young gun slinger Stroud under center. Started only 10 games Stroud's first year and put on a show and made people notice it, lighting defenses up for almost 1,300 yards in 10 starting games. Last year, before he got injured, played 2.5 games and was so far out in front in yardage, he was still the league leader 5 weeks in. It wasn't until after week 6 he dropped off the top 5 mark in receiving yards. He missed 5 games and still managed to pass the 1,000-yard receiving mark. 2nd round, any of the guys I just named in the first round, plus you can add Brock Bowers and Trey McBride. 3rd round, same rules apply as 2nd round, including their mentioned 2 players plus Devontae Adams. This will be his best quarterback team since Aaron Rodgers back in the Green Bay Packer days. or Terry McLaurin. Just like Evans, McLaurin is a machine, and you're going to get your 1,000 yards from him, plus touchdown potential. 4th round. Again, previous rounds mentioned players. Also, George Kittle. Only if you haven't grabbed one or both of the other tight ends. Or Mike Evans. 5th round. Flex. Same players as before, but also you can add Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton. 6th round. Grab a running back. Joe Mixon, Chuba Hubbard, or Chase Brown. Just like Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Joe Mixon, I'm not going to mention because the last strategy you heard why on those guys. Chuba Hubbard or Chase Brown. Chuba Hubbard last few years he's shown like okay he's not getting goal line opportunities, so he's not scoring any points by touchdowns, but the guy gets yardage. He gets you plenty of points running that ball, getting you rushing yards. Chase Brown, last year he got to start and he showed he's capable of being a starting running back. He did a really amazing job with the limited amount of opportunities he had with the Bengals. He's going to do even better this year. 7th round, grab a quarterback. Jared Goff, Justin Fields, or C.J. Stroud. Justin Fields, I seriously think highly overrated or anything, but this late in the game, you don't really have a lot of options. I mean, obviously, between the three, if those are the three that are there, Jared Goff, that's the no-brainer choice. Justin Fields of C.J. Stroud isn't available at this point, but C.J. Stroud over Justin Fields. But Justin Fields, he just has that playmaking ability due to the power of his legs and his running ability there. Never bad to try and pick it up because, they can score you more points from running the ball than they can through the air because, 10 yards is going to be, 10 yards is going to be 1 point. 25 yards through the air, 1 point, So they can score you a lot of points that way. 8th round, grab a running back. Same 3 running backs as before, or R.J. Harvey. 9th round, Lions. Same reason as the other strategy. Thank you all for tuning in to Bud's Hot Sports Takes. See you next time, guys.